IBRS has been around for about 22 years now, and we are a specialist research and advisory service. My name is Dr. Joseph Sweeney. I'm the Global Research Director with IBRS. Zoho is a really good cost-effective solution, but there are other solutions in the market. So I can't put my hand on my heart and say Zoho is best for everybody. And the one thing I will tell anyone who's looking at reinvigorating their core system with Zoho is take the time to think about your business and what you're trying to achieve. Then match all the different parts of Zoho, figure out how they're going to work together, and then do compare that with what else is out there in the market. For us, the ease of implementation has been, well, certainly the ease of the migration was, vastly better than we expected. And ultimately, the amount of creativity, the amount of new services that we've been able to build within this has been really surprising. About 3 years before COVID, we started thinking about, okay, if we're going to expand our business, we needed to say, how do we harness what's now possible? Now, I have implemented personally for different businesses, many different large-scale ERP systems and some mid-tier ERP systems. We're a small boutique. We didn't need a huge system. I mean, we certainly don't need SAP or anything like that. So we started to break down, okay, what did we need? What solutions would apply? I've been using Zoho for quite some years, initially just on the marketing side, but then when Zoho One came, I went, yeah, it makes sense. I'll just use it for everything. It wasn't a perfect alignment for IBRS. And saying, where was Zoho now? Because the product was developing very quickly. We suddenly realized, actually, this would be a very good fit. Now, the next level of that is the information system, is the vendor protected? We have looked deeply at how those vendors handle private information, how they encrypt, and explicitly how they manage. So when we did look at security, Zoho came out pretty good for our needs. One of the reasons that we chose the Zoho One suite is because it can collect so many signals from so many different ways that our clients use us. The Zoho environment does support all of the standards that we needed to meet. GDPR, which is, I guess you'd say, right up there as well, world standard. We can take those privacy principles and embed them in things like how we do our survey and our research gathering. Because that information is coming into a pretty common platform, and we can apply those privacy rules over the top of it and anonymize data and encrypt PII data right there at the collection point. It makes for a very robust platform, and one that, quite frankly, we don't need to pay a lot of attention to running. We need to pay attention to the policies. If you're trying to stitch this together with multiple systems and multiple different products from multiple vendors, that's a real time suck. That's really hard. Definitely the Zoho One platform lets us put a nice little box around the privacy problem. The next layer is really important, probably the crown jewels, and that's access. Who has access to the various services? What we found with Zoho authentication platform is really robust, and connecting that with single sign-on, because the other major platform we use is Google. And we can bring those together to make the sign-on very, very solid. Really deep authentication, enforcing that identification, including, in some cases, for some of our assets, physical keys. Now, the Zoho CRM has a great import tool. Zoho import function was incredibly simple. I was actually surprised. We basically exported everything to spreadsheets and then imported those spreadsheets directly in through the import system. So the CRM was a doddle, and I honestly thought it was going to be the biggest pain point. Actually, so fast to turn things on, we actually accelerated a lot of those additional functionalities, like the highly customized inquiry modules that we use to track our clients, the highly customized dashboards that we made so that we could understand what every single client was doing in real time. Those actually came on months ahead of schedule because they were easy to turn on and they were easy to socialize. One of the things that actually drew me to this platform, the Zoho platform, is that the CRM has automatic backup, but the format is standard CSV files, standard spreadsheets. And the data structures are absolutely transparent and known. Now, not every vendor gives you that. So the reason I could do such the short handover was not only the import, but also the comfort that if something did go horribly wrong, I could roll back and switch to something else very quickly. If you're going to invest in any core systems, you better make sure that your vendor has a really solid user community. And one of the things that I like about the Zoho community, it sort of feels cozy. It feels small. But also, so you've got the city by city user groups, which are wonderful. I actually find myself, and I have found myself picking up the phone, talking to a new user of the Zoho community and helping them tailor their environment to what they need. When we first switched on the product, we realized that there was multiple levels to automation in Zoho. Capturing information, recording information was more important than automation. So if you are going to be using these automations, don't just think sales automation out of the box. Think about what is the differentiator? What's the structures of your organization? What are the processes that differentiate you, that give you a genuine competitive advantage? And then go, who should build those? Who should own those processes? And then give them the training and the access to own those processes. We run all of this infrastructure with literally no IT department. SalesIQ collects information for us about what our clients are reading. Now, that is one of the critical sources. We pipe all of these different signals, especially the SalesIQ signals, which are quite high volume, into the Zoho Analytics platform. It's effectively acting as our pseudo data warehouse. What we did is we actually built a dashboard that said, here is what each individual customer is doing at an account level, at an individual level. We can literally look at a snapshot. In the CRM, we made little custom links where literally if you're on the account page or on the page of an individual, you click on that link, it goes to a tab, which is actually in Zoho Analytics, but it shows up in the CRM, and it is everything you'd want to know about that individual person's interactions with the knowledge that our company has. And that is remarkable. Zoho Analytics. So there's a few ways that we use it. First of all, in the research field, taking all of those signals about what our clients are doing and thinking and getting ahead. We literally have some wonderful graphs that show what topics to figure out what actually matters. Recently, we did a survey of New Zealand citizens, how citizens are using government services. It was very well received in New Zealand. But here in Australia, we had a very senior government minister come to us and ask us to present on that research. And sure, I presented it. Because of the way Zoho Analytics is licensed, I've actually been able to give them full access to the dashboard so they can do, and their teams can do their own analysis. That's magic. One of the things that we really considered for our purposes prior to selecting our core system, was it API connected? Was it very easy to integrate? But what we liked about the Zoho environment is that low-code deluge sort of environment. Yes, it meant, people learning some new languages and so forth, but also that low-code integration tool, Zoho Flow. It's a real little hero product. Are there superior products out there on the market that do more? Yeah, absolutely. Do we use them? Absolutely. But the thing is, you can pretty much do anything in the core systems, not just the CRM, but all the other products, by writing a tiny piece of code, sometimes only as much as 4 lines, 5 lines, and bring everything together in real time. That's really powerful. So what now happens is, in that publishing process I was just talking about, when a document moves from one phase to another phase, and that phase might be, it's going to peer review, you fire off another interconnection, another API, grabs the document, analyzes it with an AI, creates the marketing messaging, puts the drafts in for us, sends messages through email to all of the peer reviewers, along with synopses. So this is a level of integration that's just absolutely dynamite. AI, yes, it's important, but the best AI is what we call invisible AI. Zia is a sort of example of that. When you think a little bit beyond that and you think about AI not as some fancy new thing, but just simply a service, literally an integratable service, things get interesting. And it's actually a module inside Zoho CRM, was the easiest place for us to put it, that manages that. And we can literally just go into the CRM, go to a special module, say, the website now uses a different AI algorithm and it uses a different process to figure out how to answer based on the information that's on our website. Zoho Social is really interesting. That was actually how I first got wind of Zoho. Every month, all of our staff, all of our researchers, we produce thought leadership. These research papers form the heart of what we're going to publish online, what we're going to say. But that's quite a chore to take that. Now, we've used Deluge within the CRM to track all of the publishing that's coming along. And we've also written AI modules that delve into that content, synthesize it, crunch it down, and automatically create the text for posts. And then that just flows over. Zoho Learn and found it was going to be very good. We've built out sales training programs, social selling programs, research. We've taken all that information, put it into Learn to create custom modules, and then slowly we've been building out videos to go with all of that, literally walkthroughs, little bite-sized pieces. But with something like Learn, as you do that onboarding, as you do that mentoring, you can capture that information, you can refine it, and then that becomes part of your organizational culture. Zoho Campaigns started life as a very straightforward, I would say, mailing system. In the past, we used to send out monthly mailings of our research for the whole month. With Zoho Campaigns, we moved that to weekly. And what we do is we theme all the information together. What is the future of our workforce? What skills do they need to keep us fully engaged with our client? We want to hand it to the next generation. We'll need to start looking at more of those Zoho services. I can say is that our journey with Zoho it's exceeded our expectations.